Is debt beating you down? You need discipline. You need the Debt Ninja. If you've been caught in a financial trap and need to be set free, then you need the Debt Ninja. Want to stop those harassing collection calls? Start saving thousands in interest and fees and get out of debt fast? Then you need to call the Debt Ninja. The Debt Ninja will find the best companies across the country that will help you consolidate all your bills into one easy payment, reduce your payments by 30 to 50%, and get you out of debt fast. If you have unsecured debt of $10,000 or more, such as credit cards, loans, or medical bills, call the Debt Ninja for a free 15-minute consultation.
Call 800-826-1246. 800-826-1246. That's 800-826-1246. Call today.
The Debt Ninja.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to the line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
My name is Jessie. I'm a United States Special Forces widow. This gives me a unique perspective on the world around us. If you're willing to listen, I'll tell you how I see it, and I won't pull any punches. This is my POV, which stands for Point of View.
All right, this is Jessie. I am so happy to be back with you guys. First of all, I owe you yet, I know, you're getting tired of hearing these words, another apology. I swear the world some days just conspires against me. I really do. All right, Now, got a couple things I want to tell you about. There's a lot going on. I am going to be away for a few days. Yeah. Sorry, this isn't my day job, and I've got a conference to go to. Can't get out of everything, what can I say? But, Jessie's POV will continue to air. I've got our very own Bryce Robbins, host of his own show, Opinionation, and co-host of Finding Common Ground, covering for me all week. So I'm hoping to keep him on track of international and foreign affairs, because unlike me, he loves to delve into U.S. politics. And there is no maybes on that one. He loves to delve into U.S. politics. So what can I say? I'm doing my best. I'm going to do my best to keep him on track. But it's just going to have to be emails and the occasional text message going, hey, I listened in. What are you doing? So, who knows? Maybe I'll even sneak in one or 2 days. Maybe I'll even call in from my conference. You never know. The conference has nothing to do with what I do on air. It is a whole other animal. So, all right. Let's see. Other station news. Oh, I'm in the chat room. It's kind of lonely in here. Maybe some of you that are listening will pop over and join me at KLRNRadio.com. Our chat room link is right on our homepage. So feel free to poke your head in. I'm going to endeavor to hang out in there all show. No promises, but I'll do my best. So, all right. All right. Now, let's see. Tonight, following me, we've got a full show lineup. Oh, yeah. You know right now the TV is all reruns or Olympics. And half the time you already know those results before you tune in. Right after me, we've got When's World. Following them, we've got JD and Stacy host Game On. Right on there, hot on their heels, you got the Jen and Rick show. Then, we're not done. We got America Off the Rails, and if you're a night owl, we got the Rhino Report right after that. So we can take you all the way through to the 1 a.m. hour on the East Coast with interesting talk and commentary. So, all right. I think that's enough station announcements for the moment. You never know what I'm going to pop up with. All right. Let's talk about what has been going on in the world besides the U.S. election. All right. Let's go besides the U.S. election. Because, no offense, so, all right. Now, I'm kind of looking through my inbox just to see if there's anything in there, because we haven't done it around my inbox segment. But, all right, let's get back to the rest of the news, because I've got other stuff before we get to my email. Guess what? Russia launched attacks against ISIS. Well, allegedly ISIS. But they didn't launch them from Syria or Russia. Nope. These were launched from Iran. Yeah, you heard me. Iran. Okay, the world seems to be dividing itself along lots of interesting little lines right now. And I'm not sure how much I like these lines, but it's reminiscent of ye old Cold War. You got to admit that one. All right. I got a couple of audio clips we're going to play about this, and then we'll talk more about it while I get the rest of my web links pulled up. While you guys take a listen. All right, here we go.
These strategic bombers are going to be much closer to the theatre, much closer to Syria than they were otherwise. It took about 2 hours to fly from their bases in southern Russia up until now. They're going to be much, much closer now. It's going to be a flight time of about 30 minutes. That means less fuel, that means they can carry more bombs, and that means they can intensify the air campaign that they've been partially involved in up until now. And so it could represent a major uptick in the air war that Russia is waging against the rebels on the ground in Syria. I think it's important more broadly as well, more strategically, because this is the first time that not only Iran has allowed, since the 1979 revolution there, a foreign power to conduct airstrikes from its territory, but it's the first time Russia has used a country other than Syria to strike at the Syrian war zone. And so it represents, I think, a significant expansion of Russia's footprint in the Middle East and shows that it is a true Middle East player that has to be reckoned with. It's not just focused on Syria. It's got contacts and an actual base now, it seems, if only temporarily, in Iran as well. And so that's really significant strategically.
And as you talk about these shifting strategic geopolitical movements, also the report about Russia saying it's close to joint military action with the US over Aleppo.
Yeah, that's right. They're very clear that this is just about Aleppo. They're not close to coordinating their actions about the Syrian war in general, because they're still both on opposite sides of the conflict in Syria. But you're right. Sergei Shoigu said there has been negotiations carrying on for some time now, and they're in a very active phase, is the expression he used. I don't quite know what that means, but he says they're very close to some kind of agreement that would mean, effectively, that the Russians and the United States would be fighting together to try and establish peace, is the phrase, again, Shoigu uses, in the region of Aleppo. And so that's really significant because we haven't seen that so far. The United States have said so far there's nothing they want to publicly announce. But if there is some kind of agreement like that, that would represent, I think, a really big U-turn, or certainly a big policy shift by the United States. Up until now, they've essentially been opposed to Russia's air war in Syria, opposed to any kind of support for Bashar al-Assad. If they were to join forces with the Russians, yes, that would be a formidable force, certainly, but it would also have consequences and implications for the American strategy in Syria.
All right. So, for the first time since the 1979, I'm a little tongue-tied today. Gotta untwist that tongue. We have bombers taking off from another country to bomb, taking off from a third. Not Russian bombers are not taking off from Syria. But wait, is this really the first time since 1979? Let me see if I can find the article. I'll be a minute on pulling that one up. So let's talk about the other implications on this while I find that article. Because I got to do this couple articles at a time. Otherwise, my web browser just decides it's gonna go cuckoo. So, all right. All right. The Russo-Iranian military coalition in Syria might be deepening. Now, Iranian fighters have been escorting Russian bombers as they transit Iranian airspace for some time. And there's film video released by the Russian Air Force, reported by the aviationists. Military aviationist specialist Babak Tavagi reports, as cited by the aviationist, that the Russian Tu-95 MS Bear and several other bombers have flown a southwesterly path through Iranian airspace since late November on their way to missions to bomb against rebel and Islamic State forces. All right, so now that's cool. Yeah, they were being escorted, whatever. There's satellite image showing Russian bombers on the ground in Iran much earlier than this week. We're talking months ago. We're talking December-ish. So, all right. Was the State Department caught flat-footed? I have to say, not this time. Let's take a listen.
Speaks to the continuation of a pattern that we've seen of Russia continuing to carry out airstrikes, and now it appears with Iran's direct assistance, that at least purport to target ISIL and Daesh targets, as well as Nusra targets. But in fact, and we've seen this continually, predominantly target moderate Syrian opposition forces, does not preclude the fact that we will reach some kind of cooperative arrangement with Russia, and we continue to pursue that. We continue to speak with Russia in working groups, or via working groups, I guess, about ways that we can put in place a credible nationwide ceasefire, full access to humanitarian assistance, and then again get negotiations restarted in Geneva, and that continues to be our focus. We're not there yet, though.
All right. So, while Russia and Iran are teaming up the fight against ISIS, Daesh, whatever you'd like to call them, and other targets in Syria, the recent diplomatic thaw between Moscow and Turkey appears to have its limits. There were several closed-door sessions at the UN Security Council, and I'm going to look at that report in just a moment. Lynch writes that criticism underscored the tensions that continue to define Russia's interactions with Turkey, even at a time when they're trying to put their relationship back on track. More alliances. Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu said Monday that Russia and the United States are inching closer to an agreement to join forces in the fight against the Islamic State in Syria. U.S. State Department officials are a little more equivocal on the subject, however. Shoigu says the two sides currently involved in talks in Geneva, Switzerland, are closer to an agreement on Aleppo that would really allow us to start fighting together to bring peace. All right. First of all, Aleppo is a huge, huge tragic disaster. It is a humanitarian crisis of portions that I wish we didn't have to witness. And on that note, most of the time when countries go to war, there are certain places that are marked off as you can't bomb here. Well, lovely Russia and Bashar al-Assad allegedly keep bombing hospitals. Yes, hospitals. I've got a little audio clip where NBC was given an exclusive look at an underground hospital. Treats a lot of kids. All right, let's take a listen.
Tonight we have a rare look inside a secret operation saving lives in war-torn Syria. It's an underground hospital hidden away as the brutal conflict between government forces and rebels rages on above. And so many of the patients brought here are children. Our Richard Engel takes us inside where some of the images may be disturbing to watch.
The Syrian government-led bombing of Aleppo has targeted so many hospitals, the few still working have been forced below ground. NBC News was granted rare access to one of these unmarked, hidden basement clinics, where 2-year-old Bayan was barely alive after an airstrike on his home. Medical staff tirelessly tried to push and pump life into the boy, then listened for a heartbeat. that wasn't there. But there's no time to take in the horror. Children keep streaming in. After bombings in this city, rescue workers often save children first. So it's children who fill nearly every bed.
The images never leave you. They scar you.
Dr. Samir Attar is a surgeon in Chicago, but last month he snuck into Aleppo to volunteer.
The doctors are exhausted. They're trapped. If there's a message to relay to the world, it's that they want the world to know what's happening.
The makeshift hospital rooms are crowded. It can take days for families to find their injured sons and daughters. 10-year-old Sawad lost her leg. She'd been sleeping by a window when a bomb dropped. The doctor asked if any of her relatives was hurt. She says no, but she's wrong. She doesn't know that the attack that took her leg also killed her 8-year-old brother. A boy nearby repeats that he wants to leave. But there's no leaving Aleppo. It's encircled, starving, and under attack. The injured children forced underground. Richard Engel, NBC News.
All right. Now, there is this alleged 3-hour-a-day ceasefire. I say alleged because fighting in Aleppo persists despite Russia's ceasefire announcement. Fighting persists in the Syrian city of Aleppo today, more than an hour into a 3-hour ceasefire announced by Russia to rebel groups. And a witness in the city said that as government forces try to reverse last week's opposition gains. All right, so Russian-backed Syrian forces are trying to take over what the, quote, rebels, the modern Syrian rebels as we're calling them, have gained. Because here, if you remember, there's 3 sides to this conflict. This is not A versus B. It's A versus B versus C, and there's a D thrown in. All right. Here's where we pull out our scorecard, because you need a scorecard to tell the players apart. Syria hates the rebels. ISIS is a thorn in their side, but it's not really bothering them. It's bothering them, but it's not. The lion's getting close to the gate, but he ain't there yet. Then you've got Russia, who's propping up Bashar al-Assad, ruler of Syria, and because Assad's against the rebels and the Islamic State, they're bombing both. Now, the U.S. supports the bombing of the Islamic State or Daesh, but not the bombing of the rebels, which Syria has termed the rebels terrorists. Like I said, we got to pull out our scorecard here. Now let's introduce. So, are you with me so far? So, give me just 1 second here, folks. All right, so I had to pull out my scorecard. Pardon me about that, folks. All right, so we've got Russia and Bashar al-Assad. They're on the same page. They're like, let's get rid of the rebels and ISIS. We've got Iran. I don't really think Iran cares about the rebels or the moderate Syrian forces as one way or another. But they don't like ISIS. They're kind of like whatever for the moderate Syrians. Then you've got the United States. I told you there were 4 sides poking into this one. It wasn't just an ABC, it's an ABCD. That's why we got to have a scorecard. Then you get the United States. They're trying to help the, quote, rebels or the moderate Syrian forces. They want Assad gone, but they're very much anti-Islamic State or Daesh. Like I said, you got to have a scorecard, tell the players apart. Scorecards, get your scorecards here. Yeah. Whew. You wonder why sometimes my show prep takes a while. And as if all this wasn't enough, so the Syrian forces are now violating the Russian ceasefire. So Syrian forces are now breaking the ceasefire set by their partners, the Russians. The ceasefire was supposed to start at 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. daily to facilitate the delivery of aid supplies. There's been a government attempt to advance right in the middle of this alleged ceasefire. So, guys, what about the poor people? What about the civilians caught in the middle of all this? Well, that's where we go to the United Nations. The UN says 3 hours a day isn't long enough, guys. That's not enough time. You can't repair a water system. You can't deliver major amounts of food and medical supplies in 3 hours. And the UN is extremely concerned that consequences will be dire for millions of civilians if the electricity and water networks are not repaired. And that's according to Jacob El Hilo, UN resident and humanitarian coordinator for Syria, and Kevin Kennedy, UN regional humanitarian coordinator for the Syrian crisis. An estimated 250 to 275,000. Yes, I said 250 to 275,000 people are trapped in eastern Aleppo following the closure of Castillo Road last month, the last remaining access route to the opposition-held part of the city. Insurgents effectively broke a month-long government siege of eastern Aleppo on Saturday. Their advance severed the primary government supply corridor running into the city from the south and raised the prospect that government-held western Aleppo might in turn become besieged by the insurgents. This brought the total number of civilians in the city under de facto fear of besiegement to over 2 million. Young children are especially vulnerable. Gotta untangle my tongue here, folks. There are only 35 medical doctors remaining in the city. 35. You heard those numbers. In July, there were at least 10 confirmed attacks on health facilities. And that's according to the World Health Organization. So 8 out of 10 hospitals and 13 out of 28 primary healthcare centers are now partially functional or out of service as a result of those attacks. So they are doing what they can, however, yeah, it's just not enough. We need a couple weeks where everybody just basically shuts up and lets the people try and repair their city. Alright. My, where has the time gone? It is the bottom of the hour. You know what that means? We're gonna go pay some bills and take a commercial break.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing to full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to the line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your website, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
If you want to work until you keel over, have less of everything in retirement, or give back more of your hard-earned money to the stock market again, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to protect the money you save, receive a steady, predictable retirement income, and enjoy financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. You can download a free report that reveals the wealth-building secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. You'll learn how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, and real prosperity without risking your money in the Wall Street casino, and how to get the money you need when you need it, simply by asking for it. This is the best way to have a 100% secure retirement and know your money will last as long as you do. To learn more about this method and to get your free report, go to 29security.com. That's the number 29security.com. 29security.com. Go to 29security.com.
Down if you wanna, you can run away if you wanna, you can pretend that this is totally okay if you wanna, you can play dead if you wanna, forget what they say if you wanna, turn your back on the country needing you right now, but I don't wanna.
Alright, I am happy to be back with you guys again. Thank you. You refilled your coffee, you got a drink of water, what have you. I looked up some new articles. Oh yeah, you know me. I'm always doing something for you guys. Alright, I got to prep some audio here, so there. Had to fix my soundboard so you don't hear the prep stuff. You don't need the noise. Alright, in the meantime, got a couple more stories. So, you know, there's always something going on. Now, who are my favorite targets? Come on. Well, Russia just got added to the list, but let's see what North Korea is up to today. Oh, yeah. Well, I've got two stories. Okay. North Korea, we all know they play the propaganda game to the extreme. A diplomat at the North Korean embassy in London has defected and fled abroad with his family. Now, this is according to BBC. The diplomat Thang Yang-ho has served as deputy to the ambassador and was responsible for promoting the image of its country to British audiences. He'd reportedly lived in the UK for 10 years with his wife and family and disappeared from his home in West London several weeks ago. Yes, he disappeared weeks ago. It is reportedly is going through procedures to seek asylum in a third country. And this is according to a South Korean newspaper. So the DPRK, that's the official title for North Korea, embassy made belated attempts to figure out the diplomat's whereabouts but has failed, according to an anonymous source. So Mr. Thay's main mission in London has been to spread the message that North Korea's leadership under Kim Jong-un had been misreported and misunderstood. In one speech, he argued that it was the British who had been brainwashed by the ruling class. If the people in this country or in America knew that there was a country in the world where there was a free education, free housing, free medical care, then they'd have second thoughts, he said to laughter from his audience. That is the reason why mass media creates all those shocking, terrifying stories about my country. The BBC's diplomatic correspondent James Robbins says it now looks as if Mr. Thay's heart may not have been in the task of defending North Korea, one of the poorest and most authoritarian countries in the world. A high-level defection, if confirmed, would be deeply embarrassing for the regime, said John Nilsson Wright, an expert on Asian affairs. London has always been an important diplomatic priority for the DPRK, given the amount of personnel stationed there and its presence there. The intelligence benefits to the UK and its allies from such a defection are likely to prove valuable. Oh, yeah. So, two of the officials were probably the men who turned up at a barber shop in London to object to a picture in the window of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un with the caption, "Bad Hair Day." They are also thought to have escorted Kim Jong-un's brother to an Eric Clapton concert in the Albert Hall. Oh, yeah. What's good for the goose isn't good for the gander in North Korea. Now, we all know North Korea is the ultimate in propaganda machines. They're the ultimate. So, aiming to look like everyone else, North Korea launched its first beer festival. Trust me, I went boing beer, North Korea. Wait a minute. The so-called Oktoberfest of the North, which launched last week, is taking place opposite an illuminated floating restaurant in the city capital, Pyongyang, and tour operators say the event is proving popular with foreign visitors and local drinkers. Simone Cockrell, general manager of Kyoto Tours, which has so far brought 100 visitors to the festival, said all of our customers have enjoyed it greatly, with highlights being the interaction with a large number of local people who are also enjoying themselves. And it is a testament to the universal power of a couple of cold beers on a warm evening to make people get along with each other. Served by waiters in white and blue uniforms, drinkers are being offered an array of local beers, including North Korea's highest quality white rice and dark beers, as well as several brews from the Taedong factory founded by the DPRK's former leader, Kim Jong-il. The festival is a great opportunity to show off our world-famous Taedong beer and improve its competitiveness, the Director of General Business of Public Service, Chae Young-nam, was reported as saying at the opening ceremony. Launched primarily for Pyongyang citizens, i.e. the pampered pooches in North Korea, if you can call anyone in North Korea pampered other than Kim Jong-un, the festival follows steps made by the brewery to improve the access to its now famous product in other parts of the country. Up to a few years ago, Taedong was actually very hard to find outside of Pyongyang. says Andre Ibrahim, a regular visitor to North and honorary fellow at the Macquarie University in Sydney. Now, basically, you can get it nationwide. So they do have a national distribution system. With an alcohol content of 5% and a taste resembling British ale, Taedong beer has been described by the New York Times as a full-bodied lager, a little on the sweet side with a slightly bitter aftertaste, and one of the highest quality beers on the Korean peninsula for several years. The festival is being conducted despite the toughest sanctions being imposed on the regime. North Korean television was quick to use the festival to attack the country's critics. The Pyongyang, according to the national press, the Pyongyang Taedong Beer Festival shows our people's lives filled with happiness and optimism, building up a people's paradise in highly civilized society while smashing the U.S. and its followers' heinous moves to isolate and stifle North Korea. But Cockrell suggested the festival is simply a marketing ploy. I would simply ascribe this festival to market forces and the desire to expand the brand awareness, plus making profit. The 20-day event has a capacity of more than 700 people, according to Cockrell, with visitors invited to drink Taedong beer from 7 p.m. until midnight. A second beer festival is scheduled to take place in September in conjunction with the Wonsan Air Show. That's a new twist on my news from North Korea. Oh, yeah. I mean, come on. We all know North Korea is just a very interesting character. Alright. We are transferring more Gitmo detainees. Oh, yeah. We are transferring out more people from Gitmo. The United Arab Emirates has reportedly received 15 new Guantanamo inmates. The United Arab Emirates Ministry of Foreign Affairs said in a statement Tuesday has received 15 detainees from the Guantanamo Bay for humanitarian reasons. U.S. officials said on Monday that 12 Yemeni and 3 Afghan inmates from Guantanamo Bay prison were transferred to the United Arab Emirates, the single largest transfer of Guantanamo detainees during President Barack Obama's administration. I haven't seen that one on the news. I really haven't. I've been looking for some audio on it. So, got a brief clip. Let me see if I can get it to play properly. All right. Now, President Obama has always said he wanted to shut down Guantanamo Bay. And I hate to say it, he's doing his darndest. He really is. He is absolutely trying everything he can. Alright, let's see if this audio will play nicely for us. I haven't previewed this.
How you doing? You know why they call it 0630?
How are you? No, it looks like it's just B-roll with some background noises showing Guantanamo Bay. Or, as it's more commonly called, Gitmo. Alright. This ought to have something in it. Hang on. May have to mute it till I can check it out for you guys real quick. At least get past the ad. I mean, come on, President Obama, we are the only country in the world I know that releases people who could hurt us back onto the streets in a time of the war on terror. This is getting old. Really is.
Janitors found out today after a major transfer from the U.S. detention center at Guantanamo Bay in Cuba, with 15 detainees just released to the United Arab Emirates. The Pentagon calling it the largest detainee release under President Obama so far, and that just leaves 61 detainees remaining there as the deadline looms for the president to keep his promise to close Gitmo down. So should this new group have been freed? Naveed Jamali joins us, Reserve Intelligence Officer with the Office of Naval Intelligence and your Senior Fellow at the Program on National Security at the Foreign Policy Research Institute. Naveed, good to see you. How troubled are you, or are you, by these new releases?
Well, you know, just a point of clarification. I think it's important to just note that there's the naval base at Cuba, at Guantanamo Bay, and then there's the task force. The naval base is one of the oldest continuous operating, military facilities the United States has. In this case, we're talking about eventually shuttering the task force, which is a smaller facility located on the base. Insofar as releasing the 15 prisoners, it comes down to a numbers game. We're down to 60 people. It costs on average $3 million a year to warehouse these folks, where it's $80,000 to do in a supermax here in the States. What are we going to do with them? Are we going to keep them here indefinitely? It's kind of an open-ended question.
You think they should be resettled to supermax?
I don't think they should be brought to the United States. I think that the Supreme Court sort of settled, right or wrong, the Supreme Court weighed into this and said that detainees, while they don't have the full breadth of rights as U.S. citizens, they have the right to habeas corpus. So what are we going to do? Are we going to let them have trials, or, as President Obama sort of set up, this sort of intermediary, which is review board, which is going to look at this and say, hey, do we deem these people a threat? Can we rehabilitate them? Can they be essentially warehoused somewhere else? And look, we've seen a level of recidivism here, but on the other hand...
Yeah, wait, let me stop you for a second on the level of recidivism.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is disturbing. The White House says only 7 have returned to the battleground. They say just 5%. But take a look at the figures from the DNI, the Director of National Intelligence. This is a report earlier this year. Look at this. Of 676 released, 204 have been confirmed or suspected, they call it re-engaging, in other words, resorting to terrorism or the battlefield. I mean, Naveed, that's 1/3, 30%.
Yeah,
go back to want to try to kill us.
Absolutely. Look, I'm going to make this clear. I'm not advocating that these are people that should be walking in, civilized society. I totally agree with you on that, John. I think the question is, where do we physically keep them? And there's a question about, look, Guantanamo Bay, right or wrong, it's got political connotations. It was opened up September 11th. Worldwide, it's not viewed as in a positive light. We're down, at this point, we're down to 60. 17 of those people have been designated as high-value targets. They're not going anywhere. So we're really talking about, down to 30 or 40 people left that are been in there for 14 years. Could we potentially gain a little bit of political ground by putting them somewhere else? Probably, yeah, I think so.
But then
Should they be going back?
What if they, as their fellow former detainees, then resort to wanting to go kill Americans? I mean, Americans have died. Paul Lewis, who is the liaison to Gitmo, let me tell you what he said to a congressional committee. He said, what I can tell you, unfortunately, there have been Americans that have died because of Guantanamo detainees. When anybody dies, it's a tragedy. We don't want anybody to die because we transfer detainees. However, it's the best judgment and the considered judgment of this administration and the previous administration that we should close the facility. So what they're doing is keeping it open, emptying it. Maybe they'll send some to Supermax, but the rest of them are going back and in some cases resorting to killing us.
Look, I totally agree with you. I don't think these are people that we should just open the door and just say, hey, you've had a nice run here, you're rehabilitated, hocus pocus, go out there and do your thing.
But that's
on the
what
other
they're
hand,
doing. I mean, they get screened and the panel says, great, go on. I mean, remember the Taliban 5? There's been testimony that they are trying to resort back to threatening actions, whatever that means. I mean, does that really work?
Look, I think it's and listen, this is the problem between, with intelligence. Look, we're a nation of laws. At a certain point, they have habeas corpus. That's just the Supreme Court, letter of the law. At a certain point, they have a right to request, why am I being kept here, and bring it and, have the government present the case for detention. We're kind of with our back up against the walls. I don't know that there is a good solution here. No, I don't think that Guantanamo Bay should just be shut for political expediency. On the other hand, SCOTUS weighed in on this. How can we keep these people legally? And then secondly, perhaps if we can't, then an intermediary where they're actually put somewhere where they can be watched, and I'm not suggesting that they're opened up to society, but they can be watched, whether it's a quote-unquote rehabilitation center, which essentially means, we would hope, a very closely watched halfway house. That may be a better way to do this. And then look, the other question is, what's going to happen with ISIS? Are we going to start taking people off the battlefield from Syria and Iraq and bring them here? That's still an open-ended question. Where are they going to go?
That's a big one. Yeah, Naveed Jamali, thank you, for your insight. Certainly it seems that as we empty Gitmo, some will be coming here to the United States, and we will watch them. Thank you.
All right, first of all, I do not think Gitmo detainees should be brought to U.S. soil. Period. End of discussion. And thankfully, Congress had stepped in and said it's illegal to use federal funds to bring Gitmo detainees to the United States. Now, has going against the law ever stopped President Obama? No. Absolutely not. I mean, come on. We all remember his line, I have a pen and a phone. Let's see if I can pull that up for you real quick. I may not have the thing anymore, but I don't think I have it. But like I said, we all remember it. He basically said, I don't need Congress. I've got a pen and a phone. I mean, come on, people. This is getting absolutely ridiculous. What law is our president, who's sworn to uphold the laws, going to break next? Yes, you heard me. Break. So, this is exactly here. I found a clip I do like, and I've never played this one. When it comes to President Obama, this is exactly how I feel.
Did you get any of that?
I hear him talking, but he don't come in.
Oh, yeah. He makes no sense in a lot of times. I think I got one more for you. I mean, it's just ridiculous, some of the things he's trying to pull. Alright, I don't seem to have the other one. And I'm almost out of time, so we're going to finish up quickly. Because I got to make way for When's World. Alright. Now, I found a couple of good, cool stories. I had to end my show on a positive note, as this is the only one I will personally be doing all week. Like I said, Bryce Robbins from Opinion Nation will be sitting in for me for the rest of the week. Checking on When's World real quick. But the Pope is inviting homeless to pizza parties. Yeah, you heard me. He is inviting the homeless to pizza parties. And what they do is they pick up about 10 homeless a day. They drive them to the beach. They let them have fun and play and goof around. And then they are taken to a pizzeria. And while the Pope provides the pizza, he is far too popular and far too easily recognized to join them at the restaurant however he wishes he could. All right. I've got one other really interesting story. An Israeli athlete won gold in wrestling. And he didn't have to fight a single opponent. Oh, yeah. Why? Because all of his opponents were from Muslim countries and they didn't want to fight against him. Every last one forfeited. They all claim Zika. But, come on. If you know anything about the athletes of Saudi Arabia and Lebanon, they are no fans of the athletes of Israel. And I'm looking for the story. I can't find it right now, but I'd read it earlier. He was the only one on the podium because the International Olympic Committee did not award a silver or bronze. He was standing on the podium alone, receiving a gold medal. And he said this is the least amount of work anyone has had to put into winning a medal since Arafat won the Nobel Peace Prize. And on that note, you know what's coming. Out o' here!